Today is the sixth Sunday of Easter. Our gospel text is taken from John chapter 15, verses 9 through 17. It is, in fact, a continuation of the parable of the vine, which we read last week. There, the emphasis was on abiding, making our home, dwelling in God through Christ. This is a crucial theme in John's gospel. Today, that theme is explored. The word love is emphasized. Love is spoken 9 times in today's text. Putting last week's and this week's Gospels together, as they are in the Gospel of John, we could say that the essence of the Christ life, the way of being a Christian, is being in love. To understand this, context for this, we do well to listen to John's other writings. For example, 1 John 4, 8 through 10. John says, God is love. That's who God is. That's God's very being. So that Jesus, who is the enfleshing of God, is the enfleshing of love. His presence is the presence of eternal love. All love is from God, says John. All love. We can't originate love. We can't, of our own power, will, choice, love anybody. We can participate in God's love. We can be instruments of God's love. We can be the place where God enters the world. What is proposed here is a God-centered life, the source of all life and the source of all love. John continues, God sent his only Son into the world so that we might live through him. In this is love, not that we loved God, but that God loves us. That sets the context, the reference points. Now, in today's gospel, we hear Jesus say that the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Abide in my love. That in itself sums up the 2 gospels from last week and this week. All love comes from God. Jesus is sent by the source of all love. He is the presence of love. Abide in my love. Let us abide in you, and we abide, you abide in us. Why? What is the outcome of this? That my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. I do not call you servants any longer, but I have called you friend, because I have made known to you everything that I have heard from my Father. I appointed you to go and bear fruit, fruit that will last. We could sum up Jesus' words, his thumbnail sketch, if you like, of the Christian life by saying, the question is being posed to us by God. Will you let me love you? That's the essence of the incarnation. That's the will of God. And it's one that respects our freedom. The gift is on offer. We can take it or leave it. It is pure gift. Can't be earned. Can't be merited. God is making us an offer that we can refuse. Our task, our work, and it is hard work that requires constancy and endurance, is to dispose ourselves, to enable grace, to respond in such a way that we don't get in the way, most fundamentally, that we get out of the way. The call to love others is a call to be the place where God enters the world. So that any time it looks like we or someone else has loved somebody, has had compassion, care, kindness, patience. These are other names for God. The presence of God. It alters the moral life substantially in a very constructive way when we think that the centre is God, not us. Too often in our Catholic tradition, we've made the centre ourselves, as if we could, indeed must, earn God's love. God is cast as judge who rewards and punishes. That shifts the centre of gravity in a way that is destructive. The centre of gravity must remain with God, who is the source of all love. I would describe this as the mystical heart of our faith. Mysticism is the experience of unity, of knowing that we are one with all in the one. Precisely Christian mysticism is recognizing, experiencing, being aware that this unity comes through Christ. We are enabled to be one with all in him, through him, and with him. The great mystics have known this. This is the heart of their teaching. John of the Cross, one of the greatest mystics of any religious tradition, writing in the 16th century, he says in his Living Flame of Love, the soul's centre is God. When it has reached God with all the capacity of its being and the strength of its operation and inclination, it will have attained its final and deepest centre in God. It will know, love, and enjoy God with all its might. That's what we're made for. That's why we're here. Until or unless we rediscover this in the church, and it is a matter of rediscovering, the mystical element of our faith has been too long suppressed. It has been replaced by a very destructive moralism. Until we rediscover the mystical heart of our faith, any talk of renewal and reform will remain just that, talk. God knows we need reform of structures. We need to change laws, attitudes, roles, etc. But none of that's going to be any use whatsoever unless it's done out of and as an expression of the mystical heart of our faith. I leave you with two questions. Why would we not want this gift of God's love with all our minds, all our hearts, all our souls? The second question, what and where are the obstacles? What's getting in the way?